Hey guys, so here's my take on why Berserk is one of the greatest mangas of all time. Now, I started reading Berserk when I was in 11th grade, that was 4 years ago. It was the first manga I started, and the way it captured me, no other manga, I think, other than Monster, ever did. You know, the story, the impact it had, the trauma it caused me, how much disturbed my mind got after that. But then there was this realization, this existential question of what we are. You know, it could be very much summarized from the great manga written by Kentaro Miura. Berserk began serializing on 1990, most probably, and I don't know if it became an instant hit or not, but the way it started, uh, he had made a one shot and the prototype Berserk, and it got some popularity, and thereafter Kentaro Miura started making the original Berserk. So if you start reading Berserk, uh, it wouldn't seem like complete. Uh, in a sense, it won't feel like it's going in a straight linear motion, because it starts off with the Black Swordsman arc, and then it goes on to the Golden Age, where the story actually unfolds from Guts, uh, he being born among a corpse of dead bodies. That was a horrible scene anyway. But the main reason why Berserk is so great, it's the story of survival, the survival with human will, which which is amiss in most of current manga or anime. Look at the shonen anime. You have One Piece, where even Luffy, even though he struggles, he still has got some kind of a power. You could also say Guts has the power through the Berserker armor, but that's completely different. Berserker armor actually harms his human body. He's still human, so it's Guts. You could compare it somewhat to Batman, even though Batman has a lot of gadgets and all. Technology wise, he's much more advanced than Berserk. Uh, but yeah, Guts is just, as his name suggests, he has got lot of balls of steel, and he has got lots of guts. So Berserk, it got like the ugliest of humanity, the cruelty, the trauma which it would get right off the bat. You got Berserk, uh, Guts clapping the cheeks of demon, like that just throws you off, right? It's a way Kentaro Miura uses to show the audience that, you know, what you're entering into is not a happy territory, it's not a jolly story, it's somewhat very dark. I could say the darkest I've seen. Even Guns wouldn't compare much to that. Death Note, well, no. I think it's really dark, the darkest manga I've ever read. So yeah, it got the betrayal, the betrayal which we see between Griffith and Guts. That that scene, that eclipse was just. I never thought it would happen. Like the kind of relationship which Griffith and Guts were in, you know, you could say that Griffith didn't consider Guts to be his equal. He considered him someone like his knight, or I could say he's just his stepping stone towards his ambition. And that's also an amazing plot, the conflict which is very much required in any story to get it popular. The conflict between ambition and the desire to have a friend, because Guts never really had one. His father, his father sold him to a man when he was just a child. He had to fight in wars when he was like 9, and by the time he met the band of Hawk, I think he was 15, and he had no freaking concept of friendship in his mind. So yeah, I think I'm going a bit in a different lines, but yeah. So sparks of hope, I would say, the Black Swordsman arc. It started off with Kentaro Miura showing us how dark it would be. Guts has his arm chopped off. Instead of an arm, he has a uh, it's like a gun, it's a blaster, and he blasts through the demon like it's nothing. And he has this sort of a dream where, all these god hand, they appear, and they try to tell him, like, where the hell do you think you're gonna run to? You're gonna come to us at the end, like you're human. Why? Once you start reading Berserk, you wouldn't understand exactly what the fuck is happening, like who these godmen are, why Guts has that symbol behind his neck. So that's basically a seal, it's a mark of sacrifice. He's a sacrificial lamb who actually got away from that sacrifice, and the demons are still hunting for him. So uh, after that, after destroying that human, he goes to uh, another locality. I don't remember the name of that kingdom where he went, but anyway, here he meets Puck, and he saves Puck, but he doesn't really give a shit about Puck. Like, Puck still follows him, and that small fairy Puck, he or she, whatever, uh, he's the most essential part of the happiness in Berserk. Like, in the uh, um, Black Swordsman arc, whether it be the Black Swordsman arc or any arc thereafter, it's always Puck. He has that humor, which without him, I don't think I would even be able to read Berserk today. And like, he's the reason why Guts was still sane, you could say, you know. So yeah, and then we get on to the Golden Age arc, where we know that Guts came from yeah, he was born under a corpse of his parents, I think, who were killed for being heretics. And then this guy, whose wife is like, his wife is extremely sick. She just lost her child, and she finds Guts in the pool of blood, of that corpse, and she takes him, and she's absolutely mad right now after losing her. She's gone completely crazy, and the guy is his husband. I mean, her husband. He's a soldier. He's not a soldier. He's a mercenary. So he doesn't care about his wife at all. But I mean, he still loves her, because of which he blames Guts for everything. He blames Guts when she dies later on, uh, which, which completely shatters him. And then, you know he's sold to another man, and that scene happens, and I'm not gonna talk about that. And thereafter, Guts realizes that his father betrayed him, and he tries to kill him, but obviously, you know he's overpowered, but somehow still, you know, by accident he kills him, and he feels regret for that. And then everyone comes and blames Guts for killing him, and blames Guts for even the death of his mother, which is just, I don't know how disturbing that could be. And he's literally a 14, I mean, not even 14. I think he was a 6-year-old child, maybe, who had to go on wars as a mercenary. I mean, that's ridiculous. But anyway, he runs away from that with bows behind his back, like bows which were attacked by his own people, you know. And then he jumps off a cliff and falls into a raven where there are a lot of wolves, and now he has to fight these wolves. So just at the start of not only the Black Swordsman arc, but also the golden, I mean, it's golden age, but still the life of Guts, uh, the only part which was happy was probably after meeting Griffith. Other than that, start of life, it was horrible. And then he meets Griffith, uh, and his life somewhat changes, you know. I'm not gonna spoil too much, I'm just gonna go to the basics. So after meeting Griffith, uh, he is he's not initially attracted to him, but Griffith is attracted to Guts because of his will, the extreme will that Guts has. And that's why Guts joins Griffith's group of the Band of Hawk, and later on becomes the captain of the Band of Hawk, and later on becomes the 100-man slaying monster, you know, of the Band of the Hawk, because of which Midland survives, and you know, Midland expands into being such a great empire, the so-called great empire. And then, you know, Griffith is charged for, you know, having sex with Charlotte, Princess Charlotte, and that's later on. But anyway, what about the side characters now? Judo, he's like, for me, the most essential side characters in the story of Berserk. He is absolutely pinpoint. He's like the jack of all trades. He observes people and he deduces what kind of abilities he or she has, what kind of motive he or she has, and he has that kind of charming personality which we absolutely love. But even Judo, he couldn't understand what kind of man Griffith was. I mean, obviously, Guts, he was attracted to Griffith because he saw him as a friend. He saw maybe he could actually have a reason to live by being, you know, as a sort of a help to his friend achieve his dream. He stayed with the Band of Hawk maybe because of Casca too. But anyway, Casca was attracted to Griffith because she saw him as like the reason for her surviving, because Griffith helped her, right? She was being sold as a slave, so she sees him as that kind of a messiah, and she just wants him to love her. And but when this one scene, Guts asks Judo what kind of person Griffith is. He's like, I can't say. He's like, he can't say what kind of a guy Griffith is. This shows how much of a composed person Griffith was. And this just shows. I mean, you can't judge Griffith based on just the golden age until the eclipse comes, because you only see him as someone who is absolutely straight on in his ambition. He doesn't care about anything. He wants his kingdom one way or the other. I mean, he literally got assaulted by an old man. I mean, not assaulted, like this. I think he was the general of that army, and was he was gay, and he kind of liked Griffith's body, and yeah, that's all messed up. But anyway, that's stupid. Like, that's just some freaking bad shit. Yeah, and then that after winning the Great War between Midland and what was that army's name, whatever. After the party, you know, Griffith comes and meets Casca, and no, Griffith meets Charlotte, and Charlotte asks what kind of friends he has, and he's like, I don't have any friends. Like, I consider friend as someone who is my equal. And Guts hears this, and he's like, you don't think I'm your friend? So you don't think I'm your equal? You don't think I'm your friend? And he gets annoyed. He's not annoyed, but he's basically, I think he's saddened by the fact, and he wants to become someone who has a dream, someone who has an ambition. Like Griffith has an ambition. He wants to become the ruler of the world. He wants to own a kingdom. But Guts never had any such ambition. His whole thing was surviving, and that's whole life of Guts right there, surviving. Initially it was surviving by himself, later on it was survival with Casca and everyone else. Since the Band of Hawk died, he doesn't want to have any more friends, but still people get on with him just because the kind of guy he is, and he has to protect them all. Now, he just has to survive. So yeah, the main themes of the story: free will versus destiny. Like, do people have free will? Like, if people have free will, why Guts is suffering so much? These are just some existential fucking questions which are there in every chapter of Berserk. Like, it was traumatizing, as I said, since destiny of Griffith. What would be the destiny of Guts? What about the destiny of Casca? Because Casca, right now, Casca has been taken away by Griffith in the latest volume. The latest chapter was just, after everything Guts did for Casca, this is what he got at the end. Like, Casca getting carried away by Griffith, and Guts couldn't do anything. He couldn't even swing his sword at Griffith. I mean, that was just terrible. The concept of God, like, what is this transcendental entity? Do people actually have free will, or is it the hand of God hovering above which controls everyone? Like, that's another existential fuck. Sacrifice, the question of what we need to give, what's the cost of our success, what do we need to give in order to gain what we want. Like, Griffith gave away his entire Band of Hawk, the one team which loved him, which respected him like no one else, which was loyal to him. I mean, Crocus, look at Crocus. He was, I think, one of those guys whom I really hated at first. But then I realized, he wasn't really all that bad a guy. The kind of guy Griffith was, you know. So to say, man, those guys who say Griffith was, he had any justification for causing the eclipse, I mean, no, dude. Like, seriously. Griffith was just, he was a sad man and a very bad man. He was the ugliest dude, the worst guy to ever meet. Like, it's terrible. Like, if you see that eclipse scene, you would never forget it. Like, never. It's gonna stay in your heart, and it's gonna haunt you forever. And when that fake eclipse again happens, and you look at the eye of Guts, he's like, again, not again, you can't have it again. Like, God, why are you doing this to me again? And fun is the other characters, which we will get into later on. I think in Conviction arc, and Furnace is like praying uh, to her god, like, save us, and Guts is like, your god ain't gonna help us. You take this, what was that, some kind of fire, so unless you hold it, you can't just close your hands and pray, you need to fight back. So it's just amazing, the entire conflict of Guts and Griffith, the willpower which a normal human can show, the extent of the willpower that just gave me the strength to live until now, to not only live but to live freely. And I think that would give a lot of you guys some strength, like a lot of strength. I mean, it's a fantasy, of course, but it just shows, like, how much, you know how much people can do in order to save the ones they love. That's just amazing. The artwork, Kentaro Miura, he is a genius. And the day he died, I literally cried. Like, I loved his art. I still make Berserk arts, and the background, the character design, the monster design, oh my god, I've never seen monsters like this. Never. Not a single story. People say the demons in Demon Slayer are cool. Some say like other manga have cooler designs, but I think, obviously, not only I, most of people who who read manga would say Vagabond and Berserk. These two are like the top two in terms of art. And I have not yet read the Vinland Saga or Kingdom yet. I think Kingdom is also considered as one of the best artworks. I've read Vagabond and Berserk, and they are just like top tier. Nothing comes close to it. So yeah, Berserk. From Berserk, we have inspirations of Dark Souls, and I think Devilman Crybaby to an extent had some inspiration, but Dark Souls definitely had. Elden Rings had inspirations. So yeah, that's how it is. So it starts off with the Black Swordsman arc. It enters the Golden Age arc, where we meet the Band of Fog, and we see the eclipse where everyone just fucking dies, and Casca and Guts survive, and Ricketts somehow survives because he is somewhere else, and Skull Knight saves. And the character of Skull Knight, he saved many asses. Like uh, Guts was saved by him multiple times, and sadly Kenderamura is dead, so we don't exactly know who Skull Knight was. Maybe he was that king who ruled for so many years the country of Midland. I don't know, man, but Skull Knight was super cool. Then, yeah, we talked about the conviction arc. We meet Finesse, Isidaro, Serpico, and I think the addition of Isidaro, I didn't really like it. I mean, Puck wasn't getting the kind of attention which actually should have been given. Isidaro was taking some away from it, and I didn't really like Isidaro getting so much attention. But anyway, still, Isidaro is a fun guy. He's a fun guy, and the bonding. I hope Puck and Isidaro make a good bonding later on. I mean, if the story still continues. Yeah, and Millennium Falcon arc, where we meet Shirky, the witch, who is like the sweetest person you could meet, and truly I think the friendship between Shirky and Guts would like increase so much after the Millennium Falcon arc. And unfortunately, Kenta Remura is dead. May his soul rest in peace. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to see more of Shirky and Guts, like their bonding, like the friendship, how they were evolving. I wanted to see that, man. And in that arc, we see the actual armor, the Berserker, and we see the consequences of Berserker, like Guts, his hair getting whitened, and he can't feel the his taste buds, his whole hands are being numb. Man, I need to reread the entire manga again. Like it was supreme, uh, and it has given me so much inspiration, like to write. And I have started writing one. I have wrote Fury Road, and I'm stuck on chapter 4. uh, I think I need to do a bit of reading, like finding out more about uh, adding more details to my story. So I need to do a bit more reading. It's inspired by Berserk, but it's not entirely Berserk. Obviously, it's my story, but it's I took a lot of inspiration from Berserk, whether it be the character of Carl, which I'm writing right now, and the character of Carl would obviously be inspired from Guts, but the overall story would be different from Berserk. Obviously, we would have. I think I'm planning to have uh, mm, a band of thieves which are like super powerful. They are ruling the underworld of this country, and the country is Desmiri. That's the name of the country. And the king of Desmiri is like super powerful. He has this kind of bracelet which gives him superhuman strength. And Carl is this kind of an unknown guy who no one really cares about initially, but once he shows his power, being a human, he slices everyone. Obviously, they're bad guys whom he slices, and saving a woman from being raped, and he he embodies that kind of uh, survival will, Like his body is covered with all sorts of bruises and marks and slashes, and his body is wrapped with clothes so that his wounds are not visible enough. And his yeah, I'm trying to write a story which evolves around this conflict of this character Carl and his friend. I think I would give a spoiler if I say so much. But anyway, do read my uh, web novel. It's Fury Road. My pen name it is Good Writer 59. Go give it a check. And if you like this review of Berserk, please give it a like. Thank you.